I work with children, but there are times when I look at my kids and I love them to death and I think, do you know what, I could strangle you. I wouldn't, but I feel like I could.
Maybe you shouldn't say that on
Maybe not.
Hey, it's Veena V and welcome to the 67th episode of the Mum to Millionaire podcast. You know, this is going to be a very good one because we've got the amazing mother of two. She's a psychotherapist. Please welcome to the show, Claire.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Claire, you have come at the right point in my life
Thank you.
You really have, because a lot of people who've been watching the Mum to Millionaire YouTube channel or aware of the podcast, I've been talking recently a lot about my son and how I've been having lots of kind of struggles with him, and to the point where, you know, when you feel like you just can't cope.
Sure.
And I've realised, like, I can't be the only one. There must be a lot of other children out there, a lot of other mums. And I think this is going to be such a great video because Claire's going to really help us kind of deal with challenging behaviour and things that we can do, because for the last, like, so many years, it's like I've been like a brick wall and I'm just like banging my head constantly against it. So this is why Claire is here, and she's so amazing. And firstly, tell us more about yourself, and also, like, how did you even get this job?
I think it's kind of a long process, and it's a journey for most people. And most counsellors, psychotherapists, therapists, whatever you want to call us, have kind of started on their own journey first. Yeah. So I had my own issues. I suffered very much from anxiety and depression probably about 20 odd years ago. And it was working through those issues. And then my counsellor said to me, have you ever thought about doing your own training? And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. And actually, then I thought I'd do an adult education class and start very, very, very tiny. And then once I started learning, I sucked it up like a sponge, and I love it. Wow. And I think the commonality for a lot of therapists is that I want to help people to help themselves.
Yeah.
It's not about being an expert. It's about literally you doing this for yourself and actually, thinking about things in a different way.
And you're just amazing, because you're just such a lovely, you know, when you can know just someone so lovely, like Claire's that lovely person, like you just want, I could just put you in the corner of my house, Claire. Just sit there all day, just be like, just sit there. But on a more serious note, you're also a mum of two.
I am.
And you've got, like, you've just literally given birth a few months ago.
Yes.
Like, how is that?
Yes.
How is this possible? How are you coping, actually, at the moment is probably the better question.
I think it's really normal and natural for people to struggle being a parent. I think that's the first thing to say off the bat. When you look at social media and the huge surge in bloggers and kind of people sharing their parenthood journeys and their struggles and how popular they are, I think, you know, on those days where you feel like a rubbish mum or a hot mess or, you know, a failure, or what am I doing to my child? You know what? There are so many people out there, and it's just a snippet of time. And if it is a permanent thing or something that you feel you're really struggling with, there are lots of people out there that can offer you help and also support. Yeah. I think that's the first thing. It's about, actually, are there people out there that are going through the same thing as me? Let me tell you, there really are.
And if they're not saying it, they probably are.
Absolutely.
Behind closed doors.
Absolutely. Anybody that tells you a perfect parent, then I'd say, you know what? I'd say you're not telling the truth.
And I don't know about you, but even in my son's school, for example, you'll see that perfect family. They've got the lovely car, like a massive house, like the mum just looks stunning every day. But then sometimes I've got to know them and they've got so many issues, which from the outside. So one thing is, like, I always say this, never compare yourself, because you don't know what is going on in their life. Sure. And I suppose it's the reverse, even though my son, like, everyone knows I'm the mother of that child. But a lot of those children at school, they actually might be really bad or misbehave at home. Like,
you know what, there's always a reason for something, and I honestly believe that even kind of some of my heroes, like Brené Brown, who is a professor in America who deals with vulnerability, who's my kind of big thing at the moment, is about acknowledging your own vulnerability. Even she says that it's about, you know, you look at this this sheen, this sparkly sheen, and social media is fantastic, but it does have a part to play in what we see is the picture of you smiling with your kids at Legoland or doing this. What they don't see is the massive tantrum that happened 3 minutes before,
just before,
or the baby that's clawed your face or has got snot coming out there or whatever. That's normal life, and that's the stuff that actually does happen. But we edit and we filter, which is great. But know that that's not the whole truth, and it's okay for it not to be the whole truth.
I'm laughing because we recently went to Mauritius,
right?
And everyone was saying, "Oh my God, it looks like you had such an amazing time." And usually I'd be like, "Yeah, it was great." And I was like, that photo that you saw on Facebook, I had to say to my dad, "Quickly take it with the amazing sea," because my son was like running in the opposite direction in the country, where he's going to get lost in. So it's literally 1 second snap. Oh my God, come back, where are you going?
Yeah.
But yeah, Claire is here today. She's really going to help us and really kind of give us some simple techniques. If you're at your wit's end and you're really struggling at the moment to deal with your child, Claire is our girl. So what are some kind of really... And they're probably going to sound obvious to some people, but what are some really simple steps that we can take if our children have kind of, I don't know, a really, my son, for example, really negative self-talk at the moment. He's saying people hate him. He's saying things like, "I want to kill myself." As a parent, how can we... Because I'll be honest, sometimes I just don't know what to say to him. I'll say they're like, "I love you so much," and no one wants you to kill yourself. But what else can we be doing?
I think the first thing is it's great if your child can come to you and say to you, "Look, I'm really struggling with this." I think it's just actually sometimes taking that pause. Because it's really hard when you're cooking the dinner and the washing's on and you've got to do this and you've got this homework and all this stuff whizzing around your head. It starts and ends with you.
Yeah.
As individuals, it always starts and ends with you. So first of all, take that time. You know what? Turn the gas off, push it to one side. Right, come on, talk to me. What's really going on? And as I say, that's not always the easiest thing. It's not always the first thing because we automatically think, how can I fix this? How can I do this?
Yeah.
How can I change this? Well, the first thing is taking the time. Secondly, again, it starts and ends with you in your own way of being. So none of us can pour from an empty cup. So if you don't love yourself or like yourself, your kids will pick up on that. And the biggest thing you can do is have that journey together and allow your child to know there is no such thing as perfection, because there really isn't. I work with children, but there are times when I look at my kids and I love them to death and I think, do you know what, I could strangle you. I wouldn't, but I feel like I could.
You shouldn't say that on
maybe not. But that kind of pressure to be the perfect mum, and people say, "Oh, you must get it because this is what you do for a living." I am very human, and that's okay to be human. That's it's a very natural thing.
And this is what I think is actually a really great thing about you, because a lot of people that have your job, they wouldn't actually admit that stuff happens. I think that's really good for you to be like that, to say, "Look, I give people advice, but look, this is actually happening."
But because I think but again, another thing that I'm really passionate about is there's no such thing as perfection. When you look at mental health in general, children, adults, I work with a broad spectrum of people. I work with sports stars, I work with Premiership footballers, all sorts of different people. At the end of the day, we are all human.
Yeah.
And, we've all had times where we've been caught short doing something, or, we've not done something. It's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah.
That's life. It's very human. If we hold ourselves up to this ideal of being perfect all the time, we are never going to achieve it. And so we're setting ourselves up for failure. So for me, I think it is about embracing that vulnerability of getting things wrong and of making mistakes.
And even though, I love how Claire, said that sometimes she does feel like strangling her kids. Because I feel like that sometimes with my son. I look at him and I think, I love him. I love you so much. But sometimes I don't like you.
Absolutely.
And it's true. Yes. The reality of
But you know what? By saying that, you're kind of liberating yourself from that perfectionist ideal, that ideal that you've got to be the mum that has the perfectly nutritious, healthy lunch. And there's a lady that I follow on Instagram called Jennifer Pasteloff, and I love her. And the other day she did this short video and she said, oh yes, my son, he's one. You know, we're going on, she's coming over to the UK and I did her workshop and she said on the flight, I've got, you know, conversational Spanish cards and I've got only wooden toys and I've got nutritious food and I was thinking, what? Yeah. And she went, not really, I'm going to give him Benadryl and I've downloaded Game of Thrones. It's normal. It is normal. So actually, you know, my own children are so precious to me and I'm fiercely, you know, loving of them and I'd never want to hurt them. But there are times where I am human and I'm tired and, you know, I don't always have the answers. And I think it's also about saying, you know what, Mummy doesn't know what the answer to that is, but I'll find out and we can get through this together.
Yeah.
So that kids then become resilient in their own emotional needs and actually for them to be able to say to someone else, I don't know, but you know what, we can get through it.
Yeah.
I think it's so important.
I really like that because what I was saying to you before as well, like, you know, sometimes when my son's saying this to me and I was like, I just don't know how to respond.
Sure.
And and you were saying, you know, it's good. You can you give yourself permission to actually say.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know what to say to you.
I think a classic example of that is how many people have had someone that has died close to them. And then I never forget talking to a lady and she was saying that she'd lost her husband and that she went outside and she saw someone she knew really well and really liked. And they looked at her, put her head down and walked across, couldn't deal with it. Now, the biggest thing is actually the person that's avoiding you isn't avoiding you because they don't like you, it's because they don't know what to say. The amount of people that say to me, what do I say to that person that's had such a traumatic incident? And, you know, I deal with trauma a lot with children and with adults, some big, you know, situations, you know, where people have been victims of lots of nasty situations. But the biggest thing you can do is be honest and say to someone, I don't know what to say to you, but do you know what? I want you to know I'm thinking about you. I want you to know that I really wish that hadn't have happened. I think if you're honest and you have that kind of meeting of emotions, I don't think you can go wrong. And even if you do, I'm really sorry I got it wrong, but you know what? My intentions were good.
Yeah.
I don't think you can go wrong with that. And I think that then starts the ball rolling for, you know, the emotional resilience in our children and changing that and having an emotional literacy. We learn to read, we learn to cook at school, we learn all these different skills. We actually need to learn about our emotions.
Yeah.
I didn't learn about my emotions at school, you know.
No, what is going on? We should be...
Yeah.
But then because the system, as it were, isn't teaching them, we do, I think, as parents, have that responsibility to try and be as open as we can.
And there are some really simple things that you can do. We were talking about there are some cards that you can get, emotion cards. There are bear cards that you can buy online.
And what exactly are they? So what do emotion cards and bear cards do?
Basically, you could even actually make your own. So basically what you do is the bear cards are little lovely, fluffy, little cute little teddy bears, and they're doing different things and they're pulling faces and there are words on them that kind of say different emotions. So, and I even use these with adults because it's very common that adults that I work with don't know about their emotions. You know, we get anger because that's one that actually almost like rips out of us and kind of comes to the forefront. And for guys, sometimes that can be the acceptable one. And I think actually there's so many more. There's, you know, happiness, sadness, joy, passion, disappointment, anger, stress. There's all these different emotions. And it's teaching kids the different words. I mean, people laugh at me. My 3-year-old will often say to me, Mummy, I'm angry. And my friends laugh and say, that is just typical of a therapist child. But you know what? I want him to be able to really share how he's feeling. And hopefully...
At least he's telling you as well.
I don't always know what to do with it, but I'm like, okay. But it's about actually being in contact with that and not shutting. No emotions are bad.
Yeah.
They're just emotions. It's about how we deal with them. If we shut them off, we can then become numb to all emotions. And that's when depression and anxiety can then start to kick in. So the bear cards are really good to use for all ages. So if you wanted to make some yourself, just get yourself some kind of like speech cards, you know, when you're giving a speech, and write on them different emotions. And look them up on online dictionaries. Have a look, see what different words there are, and start to understand what they are, and then start to use them yourself, and then start to use them with your children. You're helping your child to become emotionally literate. That's a good thing.
Yeah,
you're giving the words.
Like such a simple thing, but I think it does actually. Yeah, like my son loves talking about his emotions. Like, you really like saying, oh, I was feeling this today and feeling that. And even when he's talking, it's like he's getting it out of his system.
Sure.
So is that quite a good... I know there's lots of different tips you can give and steps, but is that a kind of a good starting block?
Definitely.
For parents to start doing?
Because it's approachable, and it's something you could even get a bowl and put cards on the side, so you can just pick one out each morning. So no, you can make it your own and make it part of your family culture. The other thing that you can also do is have family meetings. That I love doing that, and where you celebrate good things, and you also talk about things that are not working so well. So instead of getting stuck in a rut and being frustrated about where things are, what you do is you would actually say, right, on Tuesday, when you're coming from school, we're not going to have any iPhones, tablets, whatever. We're going to put it all to one side. We're going to sit down. We're going to talk, really interact with each other. Again, you're fostering that very positive, emotional way of being, and you're giving kids an outlet, but also you're giving yourself an outlet.
I really like that idea. Just having, like, booking that into the schedule and be like, even if it's on a Friday, 4 till 5, and you're having this family meeting, and then get a takeaway after. Do something like...
Totally, have fun with it, make it your own, and kind of change it up so that actually it works for you. Don't set it and make it rigid, but it will also give your child that opportunity to share at that point, and they know that you're available to them. It's not only literally about... It is a simple thing. But it's not just about actually having that meeting. It's about the message that gives. I'm giving you time.
Yeah, and
this is space for us.
Most children want. All they want is our time and our love and affection.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's just obviously with all the constraints we've got. I know someone watching this might be like, oh, but I'm working full time, and but we do have to spend that time with our children, and an hour is not a long time.
And you know what? It could be 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It can be as long or as short as you want it to be. And as I say, play around with it, make it your own. I've got 2 kids. I've got a 6-month-old and a 3-year-old. I work. I've got my own company. I go on speaking engagements. I do lots of different stuff. I can make time for it. Everybody can make time for it. If it's 10 minutes, that's good enough. And that's the other thing, is it's about allowing yourself to think that's good enough. There is no perfection, please. If you take one thing away from today, there is no such thing as perfection. If it's good enough, it's good enough. That's it.
And it's also better to do something than nothing.
Absolutely.
So even if you think, I haven't got time this week, no, you do have 5 minutes. Don't watch the X Factor. Stop doing it.
Record it.
Even though you love the X Factor.
Just record it.
In terms of also dealing with, like, negative self-talk from children, I think a lot of children do this. Is there other positive things? We've got the emotion cards. What other things could we be doing with them?
So you can do your meetings, you can do the emotion cards, but you can also start tuning in. Again, I'm a great believer in that what we do, we kind of share with our children. It's it's very simplistic. It's about looking at how you talk to yourself. Everybody has an internal voice and a dialogue that goes on. So you're doing your hair in the morning, or you're shaving, or whatever's going on. And that voice inside can be really, really critical and quite mean. There's many words I'd like to say, but I'm not going to. But, swear words and nasty, and we use those on ourselves. And everybody I speak to about this says, oh, okay, yeah. And then they say, well, I'll think about it. I say, right, come back to me in a week and let me know. So I'd be really interested to see what people think of this. Next time you're doing your hair or your makeup, really listen to what that inner voice is like. Oh, am I stupid? Am I this? Am I that? It's like acid dripping into you, and it will cause you emotional distress. If it's happening in you, I guarantee it's happening with your child. So then the next step is actually start challenging that. Start getting sticky notes and write on them positive things about you. Do a scrapbook about compliments that people have given you. Veena, you're really approachable. You've got a very warm personality. Whatever it is, it can be physical things, it can be characteristics, whatever it is. Start writing these things down. It's not about being big-headed. It's about being comfortable in your own skin. And as we spoke about before, I'm a great believer in what I call the Russian doll syndrome. So you've got this outside bit that's huge and kind of looks all jazzy and sparkling on, wonderful. And inside there's this little tiny person that's rattling about that feels like an imposter. That doesn't feel comfortable in their own skin. So it's about bringing the outside in a bit and the inside out a bit. So really recognising what you're good at and what you're comfortable in doing.
And I loved an idea you gave before as well in terms of putting these positive things. So like, my son is an amazing Lego builder.
Yeah.
So writing that like on a sticky note,
Yeah.
and then putting that in his bedroom.
Yeah.
So when he wakes up, he can be like, look at all these positive things about myself, rather than...
Yeah. And even if it comes from a really difficult conversation.
Yeah.
So, for example, you were saying, you know, walking home from school and your son had said that he wasn't happy and people don't like him.
Yeah.
So actually from that, what's actually happening is communicating with you. So if you can possibly, even if it's the tiniest little thing, pick something positive. So I'm a great communicator.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Really simple. You know, if there's any others, whatever's in there, there's always something you can pull out of it.
Yeah.
So if somebody is...
sorry, I just need to like dwell on that.
Sure.
I think that is so important.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even think about that. In my head, I'm thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? My son is saying all these negative things. But as Claire just said, take the positive of he's actually talking to me. Like,
absolutely.
Hallelujah and amen. He's actually saying how he's feeling rather than bottling it up inside himself.
Absolutely. And I think emotions are like a bottle, and you kind of add bits into them and then they get to a certain level and it kind of comes out, and that's when issues start. So if he is communicating with you and telling you how he's feeling, that's a really good thing. It's a positive step. And again, if you've got a child, parents often will say to me, my child won't stop crying. They're too sensitive. No such thing.
Yeah.
That sensitivity will allow them to actually make connections with other people, and maybe in the future that's what they'll do for a living. So foster that. You are really sensitive, you're really kind, you're really aware of other people's feelings, because that will go hand in hand with that. Or you're not afraid to show your emotions. That's a positive thing. The other thing I'm really, really passionate about is this saying about manning up. I have a real issue with that for little boys. I know you're a mum of a boy, and I've got 2 boys. And I think that for boys, the messages they're getting across the board now are really quite negative. If I fall over and cut my knee, it hurts. If your son falls over and cut his knee, that hurts. Why am I allowed socially to cry and he's not?
Yeah, why?
It's ridiculous, isn't it? So challenge it.
Yeah.
You know, there's...
But also stop... This is the one that really annoys me. When people say, to my son, they'll be like, not mentioning any names, who says this to him, but the person will say, stop crying like a girl.
Oh,
and I'm like, excuse me.
Yeah.
Number one, let his emotions out. And
absolutely.
What do you mean like a girl? What does that even mean?
Well, there's so many layers to that. And I think it is, you know, is there something wrong with being female? That's the first one. So is that misogynistic? And then obviously the secondary part is about, for your child, him expressing his emotions is a beautiful thing.
Yes, exactly.
Why wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
And I think I do struggle with that. And again, I would encourage people to allow their children to be who they are and to express themselves. It's okay. You know, if somebody was crying in front of me, I wouldn't say, oh, don't cry, it's okay. It's going to be okay, but maybe they need to cry and offload that.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think crying's a great thing. The other day I had a massive boo fest. You know, I had stuff coming out my nose, proper ugly crying. I felt...
We'll insert a clip now. No, that's a joke.
And I think it's very much about allowing yourself that space. You know, there's times when I'm tired and I make mistakes, and it's all okay. It's all okay. You find your little spot, you have a cry, you do what you need to do, and then you've allowed it to come out.
No, exactly.
You wouldn't stop yourself laughing or having fun don't laugh, that's not acceptable. Why would you do it with crying? It can be, you know, a celebratory thing if you're watching a wedding or huge stuff.
Okay, so I'm asking this for a friend, which is actually me.
Okay.
I'm asking this for a friend. No, I'm joking. I'm asking this for myself. But you know, do you ever get that when someone goes, I'm asking this for a friend? Because you know it's about them. So, you know, going back when you were saying, you know, look at yourself in the mirror and...
Sure.
So so when I'm like lying on the sofa sometimes because I might be a bit tired or wet, I'm just like, I just give up. I can't do this anymore. Then there's that negative voice like, you're so stupid.
Absolutely.
Stupid idiot. Get off the sofa and go and do your work when you're supposed to. But, so this is the scenario here.
Sure.
That little voice, even though it's negative, it actually does make me
but
then go and do it. So how, rather than me saying to myself, oh, you're such a stupid idiot, like,
Sure.
get up, what can I say to myself that will still make me go and...
Maybe something along the lines of, you know what, Veena, you're sitting here and you're sitting in this stagnant feeling, and actually I could go and do some work and make myself feel better.
Okay, that's what I was looking for. That's much better.
Doesn't change it. You're not taking
Yeah.
away the energy of it. You know, you're still going to get up and do it, because you know that actually if you get up and do some work, it might make you feel better.
Yeah.
But also on the flip side of that, sometimes it's okay to just sit there and cry.
Yeah.
It's that negative voice that goes, Veena, you're stupid, what are you doing? That's the bit.
Yeah.
That's the bit that kind of needs weeding out. So maybe cultivate a nicer, more compassionate side. You wouldn't dream of saying that to me.
Oh God, I would never say that to anyone.
So why is it okay to say it to you?
Because I don't know.
It's not, is it though? It's not.
It's not. This is why we've got Claire on today, because we're all good. All of us, I think. Please comment below. I think you should always say something nice about yourself.
Absolutely.
And literally just model it on what Claire said. So rather than saying you're a stupid idiot, just say something else to make you...
Sure. And instead of saying, I can't do that, maybe think, I will try it. I will step out of my comfort zone. I will be vulnerable. My big, I know I've been banging this drum today, my big thing is about being vulnerable. You know, as parents we have to kind of step out of our comfort zone. I spent 8 years having my son, and then I had to kind of be a parent. I had no idea how to be a parent. And I didn't correlate the two between the work that I do and actually being a parent. Sometimes we don't. I would ask someone else for advice. I read mummy blogs. That you know, that's what we do.
Yeah.
and I think that actually that's also okay. It's okay to be you and to kind of just be kind to yourself, be compassionate with what you do. And really, I'd be interesting to see what people think about that inner critic, because very often people say, no, I don't think I have one. And actually when they look...
I think most people...
Everybody has one. I have one. It's just turning down the volume on that.
Yeah. I love that expression. Okay, what's the last thing you would say to a parent that is listening or watching this and is literally... how I currently am sometimes, and just like, oh my God, I don't know what to do with my child. Obviously, we've got these steps now, which please do try out. What is kind of your last... kind of message to them, and on, you know, that they will get through it at the end of it. Your child won't be like this forever.
But do you know what? Even if there is no change in that, reach out, talk to somebody. There is a lot of support out there. I'm more than happy for people to contact me. And just reach out to someone. Don't sit on your own with this, because very often we do sit on our own with emotional situations. There is a real stigma around mental health, about anxiety, depression, all of these things. And if your child is actually really struggling, don't sit on your own with it. Reach out to somebody, ask for advice. And you know what? You're not on your own.
Oh my God.
You're so not on your own in any of this.
There are thousands of parents.
Absolutely. Adults, children, you know, they say that the facts are 1 in 4 people suffer with mental health and issues, but I think it's more prevalent than that. I think it's going on a lot more. And I personally, my mantra and my big drum that I, you know, banging all the time is actually mental health should be as accessible as going to the dentist, getting a haircut. And it also should be so socially acceptable.
Yeah.
So if I'm struggling, I will dip in and out of counselling because I know that it works. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Why, you know, if you're having struggles and you're emotionally in distress, go and find someone. I wouldn't say to you, don't have your car MOT'd, because actually you should be able to do that on your own.
Yeah.
No, you'd go and see someone. So don't suffer on your own. Reach out and talk to somebody.
Fighting for it, because I think I've been in this system now, whatever you call it. For about 4 years of trying to get my son help, and it's only finally now things are happening. So keep pushing the school. Like Claire said, there's so many organisations that will help you, but you just need to have that and just get out there and do it. Just, like Claire said, don't sit by yourself, and you do have to find that strength and keep. And also, I think the other thing that, if it's okay to mention, is just about the shame element. Yeah. Shame serves no purpose apart from kidnapping your joy. Yeah. Totally. And what happens is that shame will keep you padlocked in that situation and not feeling that you can reach out and talk to somebody. And actually push it to one side, push through it, knock it out of the way, whatever you got to do.
and actually make contact with someone. If it's another mum, if it's a professional, whoever it is, have that conversation. You know, my hashtag on Instagram, let's start the conversation today, because actually it is about that. It is about starting that conversation. You know, if someone reaches out to me and says, I'm struggling with this, there are people out there who can tell you how the system works and can help you if your child's having difficulties in school. You just need to find them.
Yeah.
So
keep going, go and find out.
Keeping on.
And Claire, where can we find out more about your beautiful soul and yourself?
I'm on Instagram. My company's called The Therapy Couch.
I like that.
Thank you.
That's quite a good name of a TV show.
Yeah, well, The Therapy Couch. So my website is thetherapycouch.org.
Oh, I think we should.
You can message me via there.
I think Claire needs to start doing our own YouTube series, to be honest.
We could do it together, couldn't we? Talk about different things. Yeah. Absolutely.
Don't just say yes and then don't.
No, I'd be more than happy to do that.
People always go, yeah, Veena, and then they never do anything.
No, I would. I'm saying on camera, I will do that. I will do that with you. Absolutely.
Yay. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You're literally so amazing, and I know this video is going to help so many people. Please try out everything Claire said. Comment below as well. If you're, I'm still ill. If you're struggling with anything at the moment, like people are there and are willing to help you. For more about Claire, go over to the website, mumtomillionaire.com/episode 67. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.
mumtomillionaire.com. Excel in business and life. Be a go-getter.